Translates to picks.
I do now.
You learn something new every day. Like also this, the stench of losing is not an easy one to remove. Just ask the Steelers. Steelers and Ravens. The Steelers go into this, the third playoff team to end the regular season with a losing streak of at least 4 games. Spoiler alert, the previous 2 did not make it past the divisional round. Spoiler alert, the Steelers are in trouble because Derrick Henry is a beast. You know who knows that firsthand? Poor Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, that's a gain of 34.
That's also a grown man.
That is a very, like, we should have known. This was the moment that set the tone. Of course, Lamar loves it. Later in the drive, it's 3rd and 13. Lamar just zip. Rashad Bateman. This is the first opening drive touchdown of Lamar's playoff career. This is his 7th playoff game. Maybe this is the beginning of the breakthrough he's been looking for. Second quarter, still 7-0. Ravens, 2nd and 13 from their own 36. Lamar, he's looking. No 1-5, toddler style. I do it myself. 15 carries, 81 yards for Lamar. That is a gain of 20. That's the longest of the game. Then 1st and goal from the 8. Lamar, Henry, touchdown. On that Ravens touchdown drive, they ran the ball all 13 plays. 13 plays, 85 yards. That made it 14-0. Steelers with the ball. 3rd and 8 from their own 44. You're like, oh, okay. I see what you're doing, Russell Wilson. I see what you're doing, George Pickens. The problem is, so did the ref. Yes, it's a big gain of 49. However, offensive pass interference. Yep, it was there. Steelers had to punt. It leads to this. Lamar. Isaiah Likely. That's also a stiff arm to Cameron Sutton, who down at the 5. Like the stiff arm theme with this team, who did it better? Don't answer that. Just ignore me. Lamar making something happen. Wide open. Justice Hill. The Ravens picked up 19 first downs in the first half. The Steelers, they ran 18 offensive plays in the half. It was 21-0 at the break. In the third, it's now 21-7. 1st and 10 from the Steelers' 44. Lamar, Henry. Like, the defense is there. Almost quite literally all of them. I think I counted, 6 chasing him? 26 carries. Yep. 186 yards. The Ravens outrushed the Steelers by an absurd number in this game. More on that, spoiler alert. Wilson now, what can you do? Pickens is like, I would like to make up for my earlier issues. That's a great play. That is a great catch. It is also a score. That made it 28-14. Problem is, that would basically do it for the Steelers. In the 4th quarter, on a 4th and 15 from the Ravens 43, Wilson is just going to unleash this. Problem is, no. Broken up. Ravens win this one easy. 28-14. They're moving on to the divisional round.
It looked like a movie clip.
I freaking love
it. Okay,
it.
sometimes a quote is better when you see it as opposed to when you read it.
Yeah,
that was the case. It was the delivery and everything.
All of it. King Henry, Lamar, whole flock of Ravens, they ran all over the Steelers. Remember when I told you they outrushed them by like an absurd margin? There it is. They set a franchise postseason record to the Ravens, 299 rushing yards. The Steelers had 29. That is not an error. They just had 29. That 270-yard difference is the 3rd largest in a playoff game in NFL history.
Congratulations to a better group today.
You've been with this offense now for 3 years. Have you seen signs of growth, and how much more does this team still need to grow offensively?
Yeah, I've seen signs of growth for sure. From past, the first year I've been here, just way more growth for sure.
Does that make you optimistic going forward?
Nah.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. No.
I mean, that's how you feel.
Okay. As for the Steelers, they finish another season at 500 or better, and they end the year again without a playoff win because they have done that 8 seasons in a row now. Their 80 wins in that same time frame are the most by any team over an 8-year span without a playoff win in NFL history.
How about this for a Saturday treat, though? Tim Hasselbeck in the building.
Hello.
Here for Sports Center. Let's start with this wild card action we saw. And this game with the Ravens, look, we knew all season long how good their running attack was with Derrick Henry, with Lamar Jackson. But the Steelers' defense is good. It's perennially been good. How did they just cut them up to this degree, though?
Listen, I just think they're physically better. It is a good Steelers defense, but I think the run game in terms of scheme and personnel just is too good. You know, you have to account for Lamar. You get big plays because he's so fast. But the other aspect of it is Derrick Henry. Now, look, there's some creativity in it. It's Wildcard. Here's Lamar Jackson coming in motion. You see the influence that has on the second-level players. But, Michael, all this is outside zone, and there's Derrick Henry just rolling down the field, and obviously a strong finish to it. Then it's just simple power run game. Look, this is down, down, and around, basically. It's power left, a kick-out block, and then that's Derrick Henry downhill. You get a hat on a hat, and you get a big physical back finishing runs, that time in the red zone. And so, like, at times there was some creativity to it, but sometimes it just was, listen, that's just standard downhill power football, and there's nothing you can do about it. You think about it, Baltimore calls about 50 runs in that football game. That's incredible.
Yeah, especially in this day and age.
Exactly. Okay, so you said at times, which made me think of the Steelers, because there were times this season where Russell Wilson was great. But the end result is still the same. It's a playoff opening round loss. If you are the Steelers, how do you move forward? What's the plan? What do you do?
I think you have to look elsewhere. Russell Wilson had a good year. Played better than I thought that he would play this season. But he's 36 years old. And you're in a division with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. So, like, the reality is, as well as Russell Wilson played, you have to find a way to become more dynamic, to be better, to be more explosive consistently, and then obviously in the biggest moments. Look, and I don't want that to sound too harsh on Russ. Like, he fought back at a time in this game today that the defense really didn't, but the offense kind of did.
And that Pickens touchdown, the catch was tremendous. For
sure. But I just think going forward with a 36-year-old quarterback and saying, look, because this was a one-year deal for him. Now you're not going to be able to do that again next year on a one-year deal, and you have to extend something out. That's why I kind of thought it was puzzling that Fields wasn't the guy at some point, because you could actually build around him. You can't do that with Russ. I think you have to look elsewhere.
All right, Tim, sit tight. I want to get your reaction to some of the other action we saw on this wild card Saturday, including Chargers in Houston to take on the Texans, and the Chargers wearing those Los Angeles Fire Department hats and shirts in support of the responders fighting the fires back there in Los Angeles. Just 2 minutes to go in the first half. Texans are down 6-0, and they're in all kind of trouble until somehow that happened. C.J. Stroud finds time, finds Xavier Hutchinson. Big gain there, 34-yard pickup on the play. The drive continues. Stroud. Nico Collins is deep in the secondary. That's a 37-yard gain. And now they're in the red zone. So it's 3rd and 11 from the 13. Stroud to Collins. He had 7 catches, 122 yards. That's a franchise playoff record. That drive was a 99-yard drive. First in a playoff game since the Bears did it in the wild card round back in 2020. Texans up 7-6. After Chargers 3-and-out, Texans get the ball back. Stroud scrambling. Come move with the movement. We are in field goal range, and they would get that field goal. They led it 10-6 at the half. Third quarter we go. Chargers down a touchdown. Justin Herbert to Ladd McConkey, too high, picked off by Eric Berry. I'll take that and raise you 6. We show you the replay, and it was right to Murray. He was there, right place, right time. Texans pushed the lead to 20-6, and it was a tough day for Justin Herbert. He only had 3 interceptions the entire season. He had 4 in this game. That went off the hands of Will Dissly, Derek Stingley Jr. That's a big gain. Texans would add a field goal. 23-6, they would go up. But Herbert undeterred. How about that catch by McConkey? And all of a sudden, to the house, 86 yards. McConkey, 9 catches, 197 yards. They're down 23-12, plenty of time. But on the extra point, it's blocked. And then D'Angelo Ross picks it up. He's gone the other way. So the defense converts a 2-point conversion. So you do the math. The Chargers only made up 4 points on that deficit. It's 25-12 now. Less than 4 to go in the game. It's 4th and 1 on the Chargers 17. Kick the field goal. No, we're going for it. And Mixon, he went all the way to the end zone. 25 carries, 106 yards. Houston wins it 32-12. D'Amico Ryans, your quarterback. C.J. Stroud, what'd you see?
Our best player stepped up and made big plays for us to win this game. And none other than C.J. Just want to make sure, he gets the love that he deserves, like the play that he made on the fumble snap and throw to Hutch. Like, that's the play that just sparked our entire not our offense, but our entire team.
Yeah, it's tough. I let the team down, and you can't turn over the ball like that and expect to win and put the team into a tough position there with 4 turnovers like that. So, the defense hung tough. They got some turnovers. They gave us opportunities, but I just have to be better.
You feel like it's a step in the right direction moving forward?
Yeah, it's a favorite team, favorite ball team I've ever been on. And, one thing I can promise you is the sun will come up tomorrow, and we'll be attacking it with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
The words of the great Jack Harbaugh, his dad. So we need some context here. Herbert threw the ball 504 times during the regular season.
Yep.
Only 3 of those were picked off, the fewest among qualified QBs. He threw a career-high 4 picks in this game against the Texans. He's the first player in NFL history to throw more interceptions in a playoff game than he did in a regular season with at least 200 pass attempts.
I feel like there were times today where this game was like literally putting the Wild into like Wildcard weekend. And at one point, my husband was like, this game is drunk.
Yes.
It was all of those things. You cannot not talk about the amount of pressure that Herbert was under, though. So what did the Texans do that other teams didn't to completely disrupt him?
What's funny is that it wasn't like some exotic blitz plan. It literally was beating the man in front of you. Like, that's how simple it was. It just, we're better up front. Here's Joe Alt, first-round pick, a right tackle. It's Danielle Hunter. It's 3rd and 8. He loses right away. And so we saw the interceptions. There was pressure on a bunch of other stuff. How about this? Here's Danico Autry on Sawyer, the right guard. I mean, this is tough right here. And this would be a touchdown to McConkey if he doesn't have to reset and try to make that throw. And it was constant because here's Autry on Sawyer again. And it's the same thing, another 3rd down play where they're getting off the field because they're getting to the quarterback right away. Not a bunch of games up front. There's not a bunch of different exotic looks blitz-wise. It literally was just, okay, hey, I'm going against this guy. I'm beating him. That's the problem. And then you say, well, how do you throw 4 interceptions when you're 3 all year? Because they were in his face all day.
So for the Chargers, another playoff appearance with another disappointing loss. Even though they were on the road, most of their fans felt like they were going to win this game. Herbert had such a good season. Jim Harbaugh's first year. Where is the direction of this team considering what they were expecting here in the postseason?
Well, listen, I think it's still a trending upwards football team. I know expectations are high because they have an elite quarterback, but they changed the way they played football there. They wanted to run the ball more. They wanted to control the clock more. They wanted to play that way. But they need to get receivers that can get open. The reality is Ladd McConkey is far and away their best receiver. Had 14 targets in this game. Nobody else stepped up. Quentin Johnson couldn't win on 3rd down. It has a drop right there as well. Then you had Will Dissly, the 2nd most targeted player on the team in this game. Had 2 balls go off his hand. One of them that went, for an interception that was run back. So I just think that, people are going to start to be critical of Justin Herbert and say, hey, can you win in these big moments? But the reality is they need some receivers for the Chargers in order to take that next step and compete with elite teams in the AFC.
Basically, he's saying send help.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Because he's that good for sure.
He's with us all show. He comes in for like the day we get him here. We're not going to give him up. So we're stuck with him the rest of the hour.
The go home mentality. And our guys are showing that each and every down.
Lamar takes the snap. Throws complete. Hill has it. Touchdown Ravens. As the Ravens have just dominated the Steelers here in the first half. He's in the 30, 20, leg race, gone. Touchdown, Derrick Henry. Oh, yes, sir. It's on to the divisional round for the Ravens.
I just don't know if any team wants to play the Baltimore Ravens right now.
I'm not sure any of that is actually a lie. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens taking on the Steelers. Look, it's January. It's not supposed to be warm. It's 32 degrees. Jackson had a few thoughts on what it was going to be like to tackle Derrick Henry on a cold night.
I don't believe nobody like hitting in the cold. Like, no one's like, not even the defenders like hitting in the cold, I believe, especially with like a 250-pound all-muscle running back running downhill at you. I wouldn't want to do it, but it's great for us.
I also wouldn't want to do it in 80
No parts
degrees.
of it.
No. 6 minutes left in the first quarter of this one. It was scoreless. So Henry did stuff like this to set up scoring plays. Like, I'm running out of words to describe him. Like, I keep going back to beast, but like what he's doing to Minkah Fitzpatrick's face, that's unfair. Obviously, the stiff arm is one of his favorite moves. It was good for a gain of 34, and it led to a touchdown later in the drive. 4 minutes left in the second quarter. It's now 7-0 because of that aforementioned touchdown. Henry's like, I want to score this time. 100 yards in the first half. The oldest player to record a 100 rushing yard game in the playoffs since Tiki Barber in 2006. Except for he did it in the first half and was not done. Ravens were up 14-0 after that one. And he's going to go in again. 6 minutes left in the third. It was 21-7. Make it 28-7. Takes off for that one. 186 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Yeah, King Henry from the other King. Henry, by the way, now averages north of 114 rushing yards per game in the playoffs after this one today. The second highest mark in NFL postseason history. Do I need to tell you the Ravens won, or is that just implied at this point? This was Henry's 13th career game with 150 rushing yards and multiple rushing touchdowns. That ties him with Jim Brown for the most in NFL history, including the playoffs. And now we get the pleasure of talking to Mark Andrews. Congratulations. That was quite the performance. I know what we take away from the win, but what do you take away from what you guys did to the Steelers tonight?
First off, Nicole, thanks for having me on the show, but really just an incredible team effort. You know, you look at all 3 phases and I thought offensively, being able to run the ball the way we did and be physical, and it was an incredible atmosphere playing at home at M&T Bank Stadium against the Steelers. What a night. Almost 300 yards, what Derrick Henry did. Have you seen the stiff arm to Minkah Fitzpatrick's face yet? Have you gotten a chance to see that absolute disrespect? I mean, he's just so good at it. He's so strong. And, that's just the type of player that he is. He's an angry runner, and that's a mean stiff arm. It is a brutal stiff arm, particularly in that moment. What do you say about what he was able to do? There he is. Hey! Just like on cue, he shows up. But like when you look at what he's doing, and what he was able to do tonight, what does he bring to this team? Just a physicality. I think just play in, play out. He's always looking to get the big one, and he sees the hole incredibly well. So I think just his versatility and the way that he runs the ball, he's unlike anyone I've been around. He takes care of his body. He's a beast. He's like a machine out there, and we just got to keep feeding that man. We got some special players on this team. You have to keep feeding him, but make sure you stick to that very strict diet that he follows during the season. Like we were talking about that earlier in the year. For you personally, obviously we're very familiar with the injury situation that you had last year. You came back, you weren't quite healthy even in the championship game, but to be here now and to have another opportunity in this moment with this team, what does this mean to you? It's everything. And that was tough for me last year, but just focusing on the now and just understanding and growing from everything that I've been through in the past year, I think it's made me stronger. And, I love this team. I love this organization. I love it where we're at right now and how we're playing football and how, close-knit this group is. So it's special. We just have to keep taking it 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 play at a time. And when we do that and we play efficient football, we're a tough team to beat. Enjoy the win tonight. Congratulations. We'll see you again next week. Thank you. Let's go. God bless. I realize that we have to work tomorrow night, but my daytime menu will include cheese because Wildcard weekend continues with those 3 games. We're going to start with Flaming Tables in Buffalo, Broncos and Bills. The Broncos have not won a road playoff game since the 1997 AFC Championship game. NBD, they're only facing a Bills team that's literally not lost at home this season. Then at 4:30, cheese. Eagles and Packers, a Week 1 rematch, but this time Philly actually gets to host instead of being the home team in Brazil. Now, Green Bay, they got beaten off Week 18, but Philly is starting a Jalen Hurts that really hasn't seen any active time since December the 15th. Nightcap, we go to this one. Commanders and Bucks in Tampa, another Week 1 rematch. Bucks won that one, and they beat Washington the last time they met in the playoffs, too, because Washington hasn't won a playoff game, since 2005.
All right, as promised, Tim Hasselbeck is back with us here on SportsCenter. Let's start with that last game, the Commanders and the Buccaneers. Intriguing for a couple of reasons, but especially because of that quarterback matchup. You got the rookie in Jaden Daniels, who had a tremendous debut season, and journeyman is now being put on Baker Mayfield. How are you looking at this matchup?
You know, it's interesting. I think you make a great point about it because everyone expects Jaden Daniels to have an amazing postseason because of how we played the regular season. But I think we're forgetting a little bit about Baker Mayfield. You think about last week, you know, to win the division, to get into the postseason, you know, you need to play at a really high level in a high-stakes game, and he was fantastic. And it wasn't just because of how he passed the football so many times, 3 of them, in fact, big in the game, where he's rushing for the first down. There's a grittiness, a competitiveness to how he plays, and it almost feels like even though they're the home team, with the year that the Commanders had, and I know that Tampa's, you know, favorite just by a little, but like it just feels like they have nothing to lose, like almost like house money. And so because of that, I think how Baker plays is going to be a big factor in this game.
Let's go to the other NFC matchup, the one that is a big thing for my mom.
Yeah, we've heard.
That would be Green Bay and the Eagles. Now, obviously, the Eagles have the better record. They're the 2 seed, but they are starting Jalen Hurts, who we have not seen in weeks plural, because of that concussion. How concerned should I be if I'm an Eagles fan about rust?
I think it's a really big deal. He said December 15th.
Yep.
It's nearly a month. And remember, in that December 15th game, he came out early.
Yes.
I mean, it was early first quarter when he came out of the game. Listen, it's the hardest position in all of sports. And so I think when you look at that, you think about the layoff, that's a problem. So, look, I think for Jalen Hurts, look, the game moves fast. You think about the Packers defensively. They've done an amazing job creating turnovers all season long. Their defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, in his first year in Green Bay, has done a really good job. And they, you know, get takeaways. And so when you think about that for a quarterback who's had, you know, a few weeks not in the lineup, not in the speed of the game, and then we even saw it, you know, on Saturday in terms of the games, the speed in the postseason is even faster. Like the stakes are higher and everything is faster. So I think that's a legitimate concern for Eagles fans. Look, Hurts is an elite player. But anytime you have that type of layoff, it can be an issue.
Even more reason that they'd love to get Saquon Barkley established early in that game for Philly.
They would like to get it.
That's what I said. We're talking about the Eagles fans, I thought.
Like, you know, whatever. Okay, that is.
Never loses.